Welcome back, Attack on Skyline Shore, and today we're going to check out Lies of Astaroth, which you can play in the browser, or you can play it on your mobile devices, at least on Android, I know. And yeah, the game doesn't really play that well on browser. It really doesn't look that great either, and overall I think it's a pretty shit experience on browser, so if you're going to play this game at all, go ahead and play it on your tablet. But there is that option. You can, if you want to, go on Facebook and play it, or play it in your browser. So, you know, for ease of access, I guess that's cool, but really the game, I guess, kind of shines, if you could even say that, on tablet. That's where you're going to want to play it. So anyways, I recorded this gameplay, and on this game, this footage, all of it's on my tablet, so yeah, woo! Anyways, so it seems like it's probably going to be able to run on any tablet, especially considering that all the graphics and everything are 2D and incredibly minimalistic. The art overall, I mean, if we're going to talk about that, is kind of like high school or entry level. It's not anything like too dramatic. Now, some of these art pieces actually are really good, like really detailed, but some of them, probably most of them, are actually a little bit more amateurish. I'm not sure if this is because there's a large art team or they outsourced it. I'm unsure, but there's a lot of inconsistencies with the art, and in a game where mostly you are collecting cards, and you know, a big part of these games is the artwork. Yeah, it's not really carrying its weight in this game. However, there is a couple of different strategies that go with collecting the cards. However, I can't really comment on that. I just know that some cards are a little bit stronger than others. Certainly, yes, there is a little bit of attrition there. Some cards are just stronger than others, but some give unique special effects, and some play a different role. You know, some are healers, some have life steal in them, some are more, you know, like attack damage carry, some are tanky, or I guess, you know, there's different roles, so there is sort of like a team composition element that goes into the game. That's pretty much the entire game, is you're collecting these cards and composing like these teams, these decks, so that when you go into battle, you win. But the game is incredibly atrocious. There's even an autoplay button, so you don't have to actually mechanically do anything, though what I am assuming is that this is just for grinding. Yeah, because grinding is absolutely a component to the game, and you're going to pay money to bypass that grind in order to, you know, buy booster packs and stuff like that. But yeah, like, there is still a huge amount of waiting. There's a huge amount of, like, there's just a huge amount of playtime that needs to go into the game before you're actually in the game, especially if you want to go into the arena or a mode called Sanctuary, which I don't even know what that is. Like, I don't know what this game really can do, and it seems like you have to kind of assume or know exactly what you're getting into when you get into this game, because honestly, the very first impressions of the game are pretty boring. It's like very usual. And I play a couple of these card collecting battler games. This kind of started on mobiles with like the monster collecting, monster stuff, but it's kind of evolved into cards. And when you get into this game, don't think it's anything like Hearthstone, right? Like, even Hearthstone has like really awesome single-player stuff, campaigns with like challenges and stuff like that. In this game, you do kind of have your usual mobile leveling system. Like, you have these levels, you know, you have 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, and instead of the 3-star system, though, you just kind of beat it, and it's like really easy. Maybe later on it gets dramatically harder, but I feel like the difficulty of the game is just in collecting the cards. Like, that's pretty much it. And now how you collect some of these cards is you have to have the app, right? And it's an event style game, and it's an event collecting style game. These are hugely popular in the East, and normally it's because of the artwork, you know, due to rarity and actually going to these events, which is much easier in, say, a city like Japan, because it is, you know, it's a lot more city. Like, America is actually quite rural, and we only have so many cities, and even in those cities, they're actually quite spaced out. We don't have a society like Tokyo, which, you know, in Japan, in general, actually, because, you know, arcades are really big over there. It's just really easy to go and do these events. This game, however, is an event-style game, but it just doesn't have the charm, you know, as some others, especially in the East. I guess this is maybe like an attempt to bring that sort of style of game to the West. However, it's not as good as others that are kind of doing it, because others have a little bit more mechanics. Like, honestly, I kind of like Ishtara. I thought Ishtara was okay. A Grand Sphere, maybe. There's a couple other card collecting games that I know you guys have said in the comments below that are actually not too bad. But I think the best ones really are over in the East. Like, they're not quite polished, and most of them that come to the West are actually just copycats of those games, and so they're lesser quality. This title, it just seems to be like one of those event-style games where there's an event, you have to log on, kill a raid boss or whatever, you just collect the card, and now you're a little bit stronger, and basically the whole game is about just wasting time. It's about grinding, wasting time, spending money. There's not any real skill involved, and what you are collecting isn't really that rewarding. You know, like I said, the art is not that special. So overall, I think as an American, I just don't think that it's really got a place here in the West. And I know I'm bringing up like localization a lot, but it actually really, it really impacts the game. That's why the atmosphere over in Japan is actually very different. These games, these style of games, is actually incredibly, hugely popular. Where in the West, we kind of look down on games like this. And it actually truly does affect the gameplay itself. And maybe this video is just going to be more of a rant-style topic, on that. Maybe let's just talk about that real quick, because honestly, this game is a 1-star game, if even that. It really just seems like the art is uninspired. Everything about the game just seems really uninspired. I'm not really up to really feeling about talking about it too much. Most of the problems, though, with this genre is the fact that, well, we don't have these events that we can do. Now, we got a game coming out that I think a lot of people are excited for, right? The new Pokemon game, which is going to be one of these event-style collecting games. And it's actually probably going to be something similar to, in this genre. However, what a lot of people need to realize, like in America, is that you have to actually live in a city to actually take advantage of this. And we see that with games like the augmented reality MMOs, like Ingress, right? Where it's basically a useless app unless you live in a populated city. And even then, it's got to be a really populated city that has that sort of scene and vibe, which is pretty easy to find in the cities in Japan, especially Tokyo. So, yeah, man. This game, though, it's not exactly an event style, as in like real life. You don't have to go anywhere and get these events and do that. No, you can just log in and stuff like that. But it's not the same as the games that you might find in the East. It's not the same, So what? There's an event. Everybody can log on. Anybody that has the app is going to get the alert. And it's just not that fun. You're not really getting that connection as a multiplayer game. And the multiplayer, of course, in almost all these games are asymmetrical, and they're not fun, and it takes forever to grind up to actually get into them, and then you find out that it's just autoplay, and yeah, basically it's all about team composition, which in the end, for a card collecting game, is incredibly atrocious. Basically, whoever has spent the most time, or whoever spent the most money, is going to win every single time. It's not really too much about strategy overall. Some people would like that, to believe that, and I want to believe that. I believe that there's actually a very possibility for those kind of games, for asymmetrical games, for deck building games and card, even if it's autoplay. I mean, there's games like Clash of Clans that actually does it perfectly. Like, that's how it should be done. However, this game, with the translation of cards, the card mechanics, it just really plays like so many other apps and games. It doesn't really separate itself. Even, its art. Everything about this game just feels very shallow and empty. And one big kind of like push for these games is like their story. It's kind of like their RPGs or playable fables, sort of. And that's pretty much a non-existent factor to this game. Like, it just doesn't exist. There's no story really whatsoever. You're just thrown into a game. You're thrown into a world. It's just, everything is super usual, and the dialogue seems like poorly translated or something. Like, it's just, there's no story. You just jump into the game and you do like a little tutorial sort of thing, which you don't even need because the game plays itself, basically. And then you're just thrown into the true game, which is the events. Oh yeah, you gotta log on for the event. Just keep the app on your mobile phone. Woo, it's not fun, man. It's not fun. It's not anything like Scanners. You guys remember Scanners? Dude, Scanners was so cool. I thought Scanners was cool. You'd go around to these events, you go to stores and stuff, scan barcodes, and you get monsters. Even Monster Rancher, the games, those failed though because it didn't quite work out. But you could actually put in discs into your PlayStation 2, and then you could download monsters. Man, there's so many cool collecting events and possibilities, potentials, maybe like scanning QR codes and stuff like that. However, for this game, it's just, you just got to be logged on, essentially, do the little event online. It's nothing special, man, nothing super duper, and it doesn't really take any effort whatsoever other than just having the app on your phone. It's just boring, man. It's just a waste of time. It's a time sink. It's a time sink, money sink, and overall, not having that much fun. So, yeah, hopefully you had fun with the dialogue. At least we talked about some interesting concepts here, like localization and how different games actually aren't fun entirely, depending on where you live and stuff like that. Whatever, guys. I'm Skyline Shore with Attack Gaming. I did my best. I did my best to have fun. And in researching this game, I did actually learn a couple of things. So hopefully you did too, I guess. I don't know. Thanks for watching, and we will see you again next time. Welcome back, Attack. Today, we're going to be talking about the top 10 free-to-play MMOs for this year, for 2015. And I think across all the genres for free-to-plays, we've seen so much innovation in MOBAs, in MMOs, in like card games. We've seen so many new things this past year. And hopefully, maybe, probably so, 2015 is going to be just as exciting. This is our